Good afternoon and welcome to Soldier Field in Chicago, Illinois. The backdrop for the monsters of the Midway of the Chicago Bears. Today, the all-time Seattle Seahawks take on the all-time Bears. Danny Buck, always a pleasure to be with you. Set to kick off, Robbie Gould. We are underway from Chicago. Chris Warren from the goal line for Seattle, all the way out to the 22-yard line. So onto the field for Seattle. Steps on Russell Wilson in the Seattle Seahawks. And for Russ, in his illustrious career with Seattle, Super Bowl championship in Super Bowl 48. But for Russell Wilson, what might have been his breakout game his rookie season came right here against Chicago in an overtime victory. Wilson on first down finds Brian Blades. And a crossing route over the middle. Look at the starting offense for Seattle, led by, of course, Steve Largent and the 2005 NFL MVP, Shaun Alexander, along with Brian Blades as one of the flankers for Seattle. A 2nd and 4 for the Seahawks as they take on a Chicago Bears team hoping to stay in pace with the Green Bay Packers atop the NFC North. The pass incomplete, intended for Shaun Alexander. The Bears starting defense. Hall of Famers littered across the lineup, including most recently Brian Urlacher, along with Dick Butkus, and Mike Singletary, Steve McMichael, Richard Dent. You can go days on end highlighting all the Hall of Famers for the Chicago Bears on both ends of the football. Wilson on third down. Throws one, caught by Jimmy Graham, who picks up the first down before Dave Dorson wrestles him down. Great awareness from Russell Wilson to find his open outlet. Jimmy Graham, oddly enough, leading pass-catching tight end in Seahawk history. Shaun Alexander for 2. Singletary on the stop for Chicago. Seahawks, historically speaking, have had plenty of success against the Bears in the regular season. Hand off to Brian Blades, who runs into a wall. A loss of 3. George McAfee makes the stop for the Bears. Sets up 3rd and 11. Chicago packs the line of scrimmage with 6 on the line. Wilson. He has good protection. His pass is picked off. Intercepted by Mark Carrier. And he is brought down at the 37. Mark Carrier with the pick, and that brings on Sid Luckman in the Chicago Bears offense. For Luckman, his success well documented. Wasn't called on much last week against Denver in the win. Gale Sayers had quite a few carries afternoon against the Broncos. Look at starters for the Bears. Walter Payton, Bronco Nagurski, 2 Hall of Famers in the backfield, along with Gale Sayers. Red Grange also a part of the backfield. And you have 5 Hall of Famers that can be in the backfield for the Bears at once. Here's another one of them, Walter Payton, for no gain. Look at the Seattle Seahawks defense. Jacob Green, a part of the line. Cortez Kennedy, the Hall of Famer. Kenny Easley, also inducted to Canton. But this Seattle defense, plenty of stars, including Dave Brown, who we saw 2 weeks ago with a pick 6 against the Eagles. Here's Luckman to throw. His pass is caught by Johnny Morris. And he's wrestled at the 24, but enough for a first down for Chicago. And for the Bears, the prerogative is simple. With all the Hall of Famers they have, certainly mismatches across the board. Luckman's pass is almost picked up. Incomplete pass in the end. Brings up 2nd and 10 for Chicago. Luckman from the shotgun. On 2nd and 10, they bring the blitz. Walter Payton with a first down inside 15 to the 11. Good run from Sweetness himself. Earl Thomas slow to get up. Midway portion of the first quarter here from Chicago. Bears threatening on their opening drive. Luckman to the air. Sid Luckman picked off! Intercepted by Dave Brown. Rather, Chad Brown, who came up with the pick. So Chad Brown comes up with the interception. Playing in the secondary for Seattle. The Seahawks come up with a turnover from the 6. The pitch to Marshawn Lynch for 2. A look at the NFC wildcard race. The Rams, who Seattle beat last week, had a shutout going into the third quarter in a trouncing of the Rams on Monday night. And the Bears also neck and neck in that race. Alexander. He picks up 2. Now look at the NFC playoff picture. Seattle outside of that range, but everyone's looking up to Green Bay and San Francisco. 49ers have a big game this week against Pittsburgh. We'll be there with you on Monday night. Alexander. Not much doing. Steve McMichael was there to make the stop for the Bears. Punt formation for Seattle. And Michael Dixon. What is a very fast-moving first quarter. Dixon boots it away. On the return, Devin Hester. From the 40 all the way to the 47 of Seattle. Second possession on deck for Chicago. With Sid Luckman at the controls for the Bears. Walter Payton for 1. Joe Nash made the stop. Look at the standings of the NFC North. Green Bay with a record of 10-3. Chicago at 9-4. Packers with a huge win last week against Oakland. Luckman to the air. His pass caught by Martellus Bennett. Sets up 3rd and 3.
Gain of 6 on the play.
See what Chicago does here in short yardage. Closing stages, first quarter. Luckman. Look at the time he has. Martellus Bennett with the catch. All the way to the 25, enough for a Chicago first down. Sid Luckman hasn't been many deep shots, but he has carved up the Seattle secondary for the most part. Likely the last play of the first quarter, Walter Payton wrapped up in the backfield. Chad Brown, who had the interception, made the stop, and that closes out the first quarter. We are scoreless in the Windy City. Back after this, here on Charger U 95. Second quarter from Chicago. DeBock, always a pleasure to be with you. Here in huge game for Chicago, hoping to stay in the midst of the playoff chase. Walter Payton wrapped up by Jacob Green.
Number 34, the ball carrier.
And Green surged through the Chicago offensive line
On the play.
with plenty of Hall of Famers. Jimbo Covert beat on the play. Luckman is sacked again. Eugene Robinson on the safety blitz
Number 42.
forces the Bears into a punting situation. Bobby Joe Green in punt formation for Chicago. And he gets one away. Spiraling kick heads into the end zone for a touchback.
They'll start the drive at the point.
First down, Seahawks. With Russell Wilson working under center. Play action fake. Doug Baldwin lost the ball. And Sean Alexander able to be the saving grace with the recovery. Baldwin on a crossing route got absolutely smoked by Gary Fensick. And that comes as no surprise, knowing how big of hits Gary Fensick put on during his illustrious career with Chicago. Marshawn Lynch And he's able to pick up the first down. McMichael, closeout tackle. Still a scoreless game. Seahawks defense has hung tough, hoping to give a break for their offense. Sean Alexander along left side of the line. McMichael made another stop. 2nd and 7 for Seattle. Wilson, play action fake, deep ball throw. It is incomplete. Broken up at the last moment. Set up 3rd and 7 for Seattle. Blades in motion. Wilson to the air. He is sacked. Making the play for Chicago, Mark Carrier, who had the interception of Russell Wilson on the opening drive, forces Seattle to bring on Michael Dixon for the 2nd time today. And he swings the right leg. On the return, Devin Hester. There goes Devin Hester all the way to the 41. 4:18 to go in the first half in a scoreless game. So Sid Luckman and the Bears offense has not had any offensive production up to this point. Luckman back to throw it. His pass caught by Brandon Marshall, but he was out of bounds. Incomplete pass sets up 2nd and 10 for the Bears. Morris lines up wide to the left against a 4-man front for Seattle. Luckman to throw. Harlan Hill makes the catch. Gain of 7 brings up 3rd and 3 for Chicago.
7-yard gain on the play.
3:45 to go in the first half from Chicago in a scoreless game. Luckman scans the field. He's got plenty of time and shoots one. Incomplete. Knocked down Richard Sherman. Knocked down the pass. Sherman had a big defensive play last week against St. Louis. 4th down, Bobby Joe Green sends the punt away for Chicago. Bobby Ingram is demolished. And Seattle begins their drive at the 11. Wilson drops the throw and gives to Sean Alexander. Dick Butkus was there along with Dave Dorson for Chicago. Clock continues to wind here in the first half. What has been a scoreless game up to this stage. Blades in motion. Wilson to throw. Russell Wilson finds Steve Largent, his first catch of the day. Enough for a first down for Seattle. 2:25 to go in the second quarter. Wilson gives Lynch a short gain, modest 4. Sets up 2nd and 6 for Seattle. Line up in a run formation, that's what they do. Of Marshawn Lynch, who is near a first down. 3rd and short on the way for the Seahawks. On 3rd and 1, Wilson to the air. Russell Wilson finds Steve Largent. And that brings us to the 2-minute warning here in Chicago. 2 minutes remaining in the first half in a scoreless ball game from Soldier Field. Wilson straight back to throw it. Russell Wilson. He can run. Russell Wilson has the first down and slides. And he has a Seattle first down. Alexander to his right. Wilson runs again. Russell Wilson. And he is clobbered after a 5-yard pickup. Hurry up offense for Seattle. High snap. Wilson. He throws. It's intercepted. Picked off by Richie Pettibone. And Wilson takes him down after the second interception thrown today by Russell Wilson. Looking at the replay, have to imagine he was looking for Steve Largent. But the coverage for Chicago was there. Pettibone with the pick. Luckman throws, caught by Brandon Marshall. 8-yard pickup. Brandon Marshall with the reception sets up second down. Luckman. He goes deep down the field. It is incomplete. Deep shot for Brandon Marshall sets up 3rd and 2 for Chicago. Luckman from the shotgun. Luckman back to throw. His pass, Johnny Morris, downed at the 40. And the Bears hurried to the line of scrimmage, 70 seconds to go in the half. Luckman, good protection, he gets it away. Harlan Hill with the catch, down to the 36. Bears again to the hurry up. 54 seconds left in the half. Luckman to the air. His pass caught. Martellus Bennett to the 20. They hurry again. Luckman hit as he throws to the end zone, and the pass is incomplete.
Number 42 goes incomplete.
So the incomplete pass sets up 2nd and 10 for Chicago with 37 seconds left in the first half. Still looking for our first score, and Luckman has plenty of time and throws an incompletion off the head of Brandon Marshall. 3rd and 10.
The intended receiver. 3rd down.
Seattle again in a 4-man front. Luckman. Look at the time that Sid Luckman has to the end zone. Incomplete. Incomplete pass intended for Martellus Bennett. And here is Robbie Gould on for a field goal attempt from 37 yards away out of the hold to the backup quarterback Billy Wade, and the kick is good. Chicago leads 3-0 with 22 seconds left in the first half. So here's the kickoff. A split kick. Bounces inside the 10. Tyler Lockett on the return out to the 23 with 19 seconds to go in the first half. All things considered, Seattle has hung tough against this Chicago team, only allowing 3 points. Alexander. Minimal gain. Timeout Chicago with 12 seconds to go in the half.
Gain of 4.
Imagine Alexander will have his number called again. And he does. Alexander. Another timeout. Brings up 3rd and 2 for Seattle. Wilson looks to the air. And he throws. Brian Blades with the catch and a first down for Seattle. And Chicago calls their last timeout. With 2 seconds left in half number 1. Low snap. Wilson, deep drop back. Goes deep down the field, and the pass is incomplete. And that takes us to halftime. Robbie Gould, 37-yard field goal, the only score. Bears lead 3-0. Number 2 about to commence between Seattle and Chicago. Here's the kickoff from Stephen Hauschka. Devin Hester content to take the touchback. So the Bears get the football to start the second half. And their offense has had a rough go against a Seahawks defense. Has come alive within recent weeks. Gale Sayers on the handoff. Gain of 5 for Sayers. 2nd and 5 for Chicago. Bears team won their 2 playoff meetings against Seattle. 2006 in overtime, and in 2010, Martellus Bennett with a massive catch and a first down for the Bears. Look at the numbers from Sid Luckman, and they have not been impressive. But this catch from Martellus Bennett, who was left unmarked by the Seattle defense, allows Bears to pick up a first down past midfield. Luckman straight back to throw. Rush on his way. Sacked. Jacob Green. He picks off right where he left off last week with another sack. 2nd and 17 for Chicago. Luckman to the air. Sid Luckman. Brandon Marshall makes the catch. Brandon Marshall breaks away inside the 30 to the 20. Brandon Marshall down to the 11. Brandon Marshall on the catch and run for Chicago. Able to escape the tackle of Chad Brown before he was finally wrestled down by the Hall of Famer Kenny Easley. 1st and 10 Chicago. Luckman, he elects to run. Lose a yard. Kenny Easley force the loss of a yard, goes in the books as a sack. 2nd and 11. Peyton. He has not gotten going. Lofa Tatupu made the stop for Seattle. Tatupu, part of Mike Holmgren era for Seattle. Went to the Super Bowl in 2005 and Super Bowl 40. Luckman, off his back foot, caught by Johnny Morris, well short of the first down. And the 2006 NFC champion Chicago Bears bring on Robbie Gould, who kicked the game-winning field goal against Seattle in the divisional round of that playoffs. And Gould notches through the field goal. And Chicago leads it 6-0 with 4:11 left in the third quarter. Bobby Joe Green kicks off for the Bears. Tyler Lockett. He is a speedster to the 21. 4:07 left in the third quarter, and the Seahawks offense, a tall task. They hope to score against this vaunted Chicago defense, and if they can, potentially be in the lead. Wilson, Ryan Blaze, enveloped after making the catch. First of the second half, the first drive for Seattle. Wilson straight back to throw. Russell Wilson passes incomplete. Intended for Jimmy Graham. Former Bear, 3rd and 3 on the way. Seahawks, oddly enough, here's Sean Alexander. He picks up the first down. Seahawks in the 80s. You reflect on the 85 Bears and their excellence, Buddy Ryan, the 46 defense that gave plenty of offenses troubles. Alexander, cut down. Good open field tackle made by Bill George, the Hall of Famer. 2nd and 13. But when you talk about the Seahawks and Bears in the 80s, as Wilson drops, Alexander off the screen pass. Gain 5 for Seattle. 3rd and 7 on the way. Seahawks, 3 meetings against the Bears in the 80s, won all 3 of them, including 2 in between the gaps of the 85 team. Wilson is sacked. Doug Atkins. Seattle forced to punt. Confirmation for Michael Dixon. And he gets this kick away. Devin Hester. Eluded the first tackle, 1:11 to go in the third. The Bears have mustered 2 field goals. That's been the story and all the scoring today from Chicago. Luckman. His pass cut by Harlan Hill for 11. New set of downs for Chicago in the closing stages of the third quarter. Bennett goes in motion. And Luckman looks to the air. Sid Luckman finds Johnny Morris. Past midfield to the 49.
Number 42 throws complete. Gain of 14 on the play.
So to the 49 goes Bennett, who's been the go-to receiver for Sid Luckman. Walter Payton. They look to find him with more involvement, and Payton with a first down to close out the third quarter. We go to the fourth. The score, Chicago 6, Seattle no score. We begin the fourth quarter here from Chicago, still in search of our first touchdown today. Luckman gives Sayers. Pass the 30 to bring up 2nd and 4. Bears have turned more into a running back by committee for this game. 2nd and 4. Luckman scans the field. Sid Luckman throws one incomplete. Third down on the way. Johnny Morris was the intended target. 7:24 to go in the fourth. Luckman straight back to throw. His pass caught by Johnny Morris, enough for a first down for the Bears. They look to play a game of time of possession to keep Seattle's offense off the field, just like they did against Denver last week. Luckman off his back foot, caught by Johnny Morris, but he could not hang on. Second down. They are in Robbie Gould field goal range, certainly. Have to at least come away with a 2-possession lead if you are Chicago. Gale Sayers wrapped up by KJ Wright. A look at the numbers for Chicago in the red zone. Had the field goal from Robbie Gould, and then the interception thrown to Chad Brown. 3rd and 10. See how aggressive George Hallis and the Bears offense is on 3rd and long. Gale Sayers, he's got the first down. Gale Sayers needed 10. He sets up 1st and goal for Chicago. Luckman from the shotgun with Nagurski in the backfield. Luckman throws. Johnny Morris down to the 2. With 5:33 to go in the fourth. Bears on the verge of maybe not quite a knockout punch, but pretty well close to it if they can score here. Emery Moorhead in motion. Walter Payton, touchdown Chicago. Sweetness runs it in. And the Bears have captured a 2-score lead. Thanks to the MVP of 1977. They do elect to go for 2. Luckman. He looks and throws. Morris for the 2-point conversion. With 5:03 to go in the fourth, Chicago with a 14-0 lead. Here is the kickoff from Bobby Joe Green. Tyler Lockett on the return for Seattle, and he is hit. Dick Butkus made the stop. 5 minutes left in the game. Seattle, their offense has been stalled for the majority of the day. Alexander loses a yard. Butkus on the stop. Seahawks hurry again to the line. Russell Wilson. He throws. It is caught. Steve Largent to the 39. Seahawks have to hurry. They hope to not be shut out like they were in 1990 when they lost to Chicago 17-0. On 1st and 10, Alexander moves the pile for 6, but the clock very much a factor. 2nd and 4 on the way for Seattle. Wilson hit as he throws to the sideline, incomplete. 3rd down for the Seahawks. On 3rd down, rush coming, and Wilson's decked. The rush gave no favors for Russell Wilson. 4th and 4, the offense remains on the field. Wilson to throw. His pass somehow caught by Steve Largent. What a catch from Largent. Leveled by Mike Singletary, who was injured on the play. First and 10 for Seattle. Wilson shoots a deep ball. It is caught. Baldwin to the 1. Doug Baldwin with an over-the-shoulder catch against the defending Dave Duerson to set up 1st and goal for Seattle. Is this Sean Alexander territory? It is, and he's in. Touchdown, Seattle. And the MVP of the league in 2005 runs it in from a yard out. Here is the extra point from Stephen Hauschka out of the hold of Matt Hasselbeck, and the kick splits the uprights. And it's a 7-point game after Seattle advances down the field thanks to the big catch from Doug Baldwin and the 4th down conversion that puts Seattle within a touchdown. Devin Hester takes a knee in the end zone for a touchback. Now the story reverts back to where we were last week. Chicago ran out the clock against Denver, in large part due to Gale Sayers. Payton this time loses 3 yards. Dave Brown made the tackle for Seattle.
Loss of 3.
2nd and 13. Luckman operates under center. Nagurski in motion. This is Walter Payton again. Downhill. Back to the line of scrimmage. Bobby Wagner made the stop. 3rd and 13 in Seattle. The 2-minute warning. All 3 of their timeouts. They come up with a stop. Have a chance for their offense to tie. Sayers wrapped up. 4th down on the way. And the Seahawks to get the football back. Bobby Joe Green to punt for Chicago. Green boots it away. Bobby Ingram all the way to the 36. A lot of time ran off the clock. 1 minute to go in the game. See what Seattle can do here. Wilson scans. Largent, the catch. 1st down, Seattle, with 50 seconds to go.
Gain of 10.
They hurry to the line of scrimmage. Wilson, good protection. Graham for 5. 35 seconds left. You gotta hurry here. 2 timeouts left for Seattle. Wilson rifles. Graham again in the middle of the field. Timeout, Seattle. 28 seconds left. Have to think about going deep here. Wilson, he'll run. Russell Wilson has the 1st down inside the 35. Seattle uses all 3 of their timeouts. Russell Wilson keeps it himself, but now he is forced to throw. Alexander, inside handoff. What are they doing? They're running out of time. 5 seconds left. Wilson clocks it with 4 seconds to go. Interesting decision-making on the part of the Seahawks, but now it comes down to one final play. 4 seconds to go. They need the end zone. Wilson fires. It is caught. Largent, is he in? He is out of bounds. Incomplete pass, and the game is over. And Chicago has won by the skin of their teeth. Mark Carrier awarded with MVP honors, but Largent in the corner of the end zone was out of bounds by the thinnest of margins. Chicago, in a defensive grinder, comes away with a win. For all of us from Charger 295, I'm Danny Bock saying so long and take care. Chicago wins it 14-7.